Hey guys, welcome back to the neighborhood. It's your friendly neighborhood reviewer with InToIt Reviews. So it's Black Friday, and the Meze Rai Solo are on sale for $150 right now. Meze is a company that's known for its house sound as being rather thick, lush, and inviting. But what about the Meze Rai Solo? Are they any different? Let's get into it. So the Meze Rai Solo. This IEM has kind of been flying under the radar for a while in my opinion. And I think that the reason for this is that most people don't understand it. In an IEM world where Chi-Fi is dominating a large portion of the IEM marketplace at this time, the Meze Rai Solo takes an entirely different approach to an IEM, including its tuning. In many ways, it's almost the anti-Chi-Fi IEM. Well, let's get into that a little bit more. What do I mean by this? Well, the Harman curve has become a tuning trend, which begun in 2019 and has continued into 2020. And when Harman has not been utilized, it seems like companies have tended to place their focus on boosted upper mid-ranges and treble-dominated schemes, perhaps intending to produce the illusion of clarity and detail for the masses. Alternatively, what Meze has done here with the Rai Solo is unique and different. They have manufactured an IEM with a hardy build, a unique driver, and a dark but detailed tuning. The shell is constructed of hand-brushed stainless steel with color-coded matching nozzles, and the logo Meze is impressed in black on the side. The connection originates at the shell in an MMCX connector, and the stock cable terminates in a right-angled 3.5mm connector. Its cable is 1.3 meters in length and is comprised of a silver-plated copper wire. While I liked the cable in principle, the ear hooks were comprised of a plastic wrap memory wire, which was uncomfortable and caused numerous fit issues for me. I would recommend a replacement cable from an outside-the-box company here, at least until Meze ditches the memory wire. Alternatively, you might be able to cut out the memory wire if you wish to save the cable. I used a TriPoIn balanced MMCX cable for the majority of my testing and noted no sonic differences between the sounds of the stock and that cable. I also had fit difficulties with the included tips. For some reason, some varieties only came in small and medium, labeled medium and large on the website, but there's no way those were actually these sizes. And I needed a larger tip to get a good seal in my ear canal with the Rai Solo. I will also note that generally, large tips are too big for me, and in most cases I wear a medium size with few exceptions. Having said that, tips were also composed of a rather thin rubber, and they had difficulty sustaining the weight of the IEM itself in my ears. Additionally, the stock tips simply reduced the treble presentation too much for my liking in the end. My tips of preference for this IEM were SpinFit CP145 or Final Audio Type E tips, as they held the IEM up in my ear sufficiently and raised the treble within normal listening levels. There was still significant treble roll-off, as we'll talk about that later, but the treble was ultimately more pleasing and special with these tips. Additionally, the solos isolated superbly well with these tips and blocked out more noise from the outside than with the stock tips. Last but not least, before we get further into the sound, we should talk about the electrodynamic diaphragm that Meze has chosen to use as a single dynamic driver here. They call it a wire-free, unified, pistonic, motion technology exclusive driver, where the membrane itself is electronically conductive, eliminating the need for wires, which would otherwise impede the uniformity of the driver's motion. They claim that use of this driver benefits the listener in terms of lower harmonic distortion, enhanced mid-range performance, and improved reproduction of the lower frequencies. So does Meze deliver on these sonic promises? Overall, timbre is warm and somewhat dry, separating itself from the luscious tones of other Meze products somewhat, in my opinion. Soundstage isn't particularly wide, but it is wider than average, with peripheral details being wider than those within the main stage. Strengths of this IEM include its detail, clarity, peripherals, general imaging, and transients. Vocals hang in the air with a slight sizzle and possess an ethereal or ghost-like quality to them. The Meze Rai Solo is altogether an easy listening earphone that I can listen to for hours on end without any fatigue really. It is never harsh, sharp, or sibilant. The treble is relaxed and intentionally lacks extension in certain segments of the frequency response. It is traditionally dark, without its darkness bleeding into other regions of the sound. Having said that, the treble does have a mild sheen to it, but its extension past 14K gives it a decent airy quality as well, despite its treble reduction. While there is a gentle dip in the lower mids, things begin to climb around 1K, and boy do they pick up energy, particularly as they escalate from the mids into the presence region. But things begin to roll off after that. In other words, I would say that this is an upper mids forward set, which places an emphasis on clarity, sparkle, and detail from this region without pushing the boundaries too far. Guitars, for example, never sound bright or shrill, and instead are well-rounded, thick, and chug when called for on certain tracks. In contrast, the bass on the Rai Solo is complementary, somewhat subtle, and sophisticated. Like a great bass player, it tends to blend in without overtaking the track. Although the bass takes a backseat to the rest of the mix on this set, it is multi-layered, thick, and richly textured. There is an obvious, mild mid-bass hump from which most of the impact is derived. The sub-bass, on the other hand, is more in the background compared to other bass frequencies, but is luxuriously revealed with just enough presence, in my opinion. Because of this, there is a softness to the bass, but it also has a girthy demeanor or gritty tone and guttural quality to the presentation at times as well. There's a slight bloom from the bass into the lower mids, but this is executed quite nicely and adds tonality rather than causing any sort of problems here. It envelops and diffusely warms over the mids without replacing or overtaking them. Overall, these are more of a hi-fi interpretation of the music, more so than an accurate depiction of it. But they are certainly enjoyable. Taking their tonal cues from guitar fuzz boxes rather than tube screamers or overdrive pedals, these offer an alternative, unique tuning from what is popular in the marketplace right now, and could even be seen as the anti-chi-fi IEM as such. They are warm but dry, dark but detailed. Albeit somewhat delicate and low-key, the Meze Rai Solo is also plenty resolving. They are mysterious ear pornography, offering up eargasms to your eardrums. They are gritty, soft, and sensual, like the smoke of the air within a jazz club, and the tones that pour out from it as well. At a sale price of $150 during a long Black Friday holiday weekend, you might want to give this alternative IEM a bit more consideration. Thanks to Dave from DBS Tech Talks for being part of the neighborhood and sending in the Meze Rai Solo for review. Make sure to check out his channel and subscribe here at InToIt Reviews, or join the neighborhood at its various other access locations such as Twitter, Instagram, the blog, the Discord, or become a Patreon. The Patreon is only $1.50 a month, and it will get you early access to written blog reviews from me. And with that, I'm out for now.